Hey guys, welcome back to another Swisser01 video, and today we are in a floating 747. Just kidding, this is just a 747 cockpit, but if we go outside, we can actually see our aircraft. Yes, we are going to talk about the Caspian sea monster, also called kohlbrenner. The KM, whatever. Now, the KM is not necessarily a plane, it's more of like a ground effect vehicle, which means that it doesn't really have wings, and it doesn't really, well, fly like a traditional plane. So yeah, let's not get too technical, as most of you guys might already know this aircraft. Actually, a whole lot of people have been requesting this aircraft to be featured in one of my videos, and a lot of people said, well, can you just, fly this one, just have a little fun and FSX, and yeah, that's what I did. I downloaded this model of the KM. This add-on for FSX was actually developed around 10 years ago, so things are a bit old. Now let's talk a bit about the real aircraft, or like, I don't know if you can count that as an aircraft, but it kind of does fly after all. This thing had its first flight in 1966. That's some time ago. That was back when the Concorde almost was around, and the 747. So that's quite a long time ago. And this airplane was developed in the Soviet Union for the Soviet Navy. Now, the specialty of this aircraft is that it obviously can float, is that it obviously doesn't sink in water. It's really a float plane on steroids. But you know what, let's just take off first and then talk a bit more about the aircraft. Okay, let's go full power. I mean, we cannot lose anything. Now, this thing was really quick, actually. Quite interesting. So in this one, we can rotate at around 130 knots. I mean, rotate, of course. Yeah, that's quite quick for a float plane, actually. Come on, rotate. Oh, we are actually in the air right now. That is cool. Now, this plane is obviously not a traditional plane. It cannot, fly higher than 60 feet, which kind of sucks, I guess. We're just casually flying, right? Yeah, this is kind of boring after all. But just imagine, sailing around this. Just imagine, sailing around here in Alaska, and then a huge KM plane flies by. Oh, it's not a plane, I'm sorry. It's not really a plane after all. And this thing actually was really quick. It could reach up to 500 kilometers per hour, which is obviously super crazy when you think about that this plane only flew around 60 feet above water. Now, this thing must have been super cool. Actually, this plane was destroyed a few years later in the 80s. Now, maybe let's talk about how a ground effect vehicle works, kind of, just, briefly. Actually, ground effect aircraft means a chronoplan in Russian, which is why this aircraft is also known as the chronoplan, even though a chronoplan is just generally the expression for ground effect vehicle. And basically, a ground effect vehicle is designed to fly over like a to fly over a very flat surface like water with the help of ground effect, which is the aerodynamic interaction between the wings and the surface. And you know how it works, magic here, magic there, the plane is able to fly. Now let's try actually, going a bit higher. How high can you go? I mean, these small wings must go somewhere, right? I mean, we have quite a lot of engines, and those are not powerful, to say the least. Yeah, no, this is just not working. We really just cannot climb in this thing. Oh, but we're going to butter. Oof, that was more of like a crash, a tail strike pretty much. Now, actually, the KM was not that of a bad idea. I mean, it's a fast boat that kind of flies. That kind of actually summarizes it. And obviously, this is quite a huge plane. It is great for transporting cargo, obviously. Did I just say plane again? Yeah, I'm sorry. But actually, again, after a few years of testing, this plane was destroyed and it sank into the Caspian Sea. Very sad. Now, I do wonder what happens if, just casually fly over land. I mean, it might work. Okay, this might be actually a very stupid idea, but who cares, right? Why the hell is the 747 cockpit here gray? The 747 cockpits are never gray. Oh, Jesus Christ. Huh? Works. We crashed into some trees, but that worked quite well. Now, you see, this plane was very limited. It could not fly over land, actually. It could only, use rivers or the ocean. Or lakes, obviously, but no lake is really big enough for this aircraft, after all. Now, actually, we cannot really reach top speed here for some reason. We are only reaching around 170 knots. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on, we can do it. Okay, we cannot do it. Yeah, and now we are inside of the mountain. Interesting. Okay, so we have spawned in at Princess Juliana Airport. Actually, we have spawned in on land. That might not be too good. Now, can we take off? Let's try it out. Full power. Yeah, I can imagine this aircraft just to be stuck on the runway. That would actually make sense. And I think the rudder pedals are broken or something. That doesn't seem healthy. Now, let's slew mode ourselves into the water. That is the easiest solution. Yeah, I'm sorry for the people on the beach because they might be deformed now. Okay, we are over the water now. Let's actually go ahead and fly, shall we? Now, let's see how fast we can fly in this one. Now, I would really like to fly this plane in former Soviet regions and in the Caspian Sea, but the problem is there's no place to spawn at. Yeah, Russian seaports are for some reason not in FSX, which kind of sucks. We are not reaching that much speed, actually. We are even slower now. All right, 130 knots. Let's rotate. I mean, do you say rotate as a pilot in here? I mean, it's not even a plane. You're basically a ship controller. What do you call a ship pilot? A captain? Yeah, this is quite useless after all. I mean, it's cool though. It's cool. It's definitely savage, but float planes are just better in this case, even though this experimental design of aircraft is very interesting. Now, can we do a barrel roll? Obviously not, since this simulator also has some kind of physics. They're not realistic, but yeah. So something that I forgot to tell is that this vehicle was quite stealthy as well. It's hard for radars to tell it, since obviously the cruising altitude was so low, 60 feet. That's not a lot, and we are kind of stuck to the ground now, as I don't know, we're too heavy or something. Yeah, doesn't work out. So yeah, guys, follow me on Instagram, and thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night.